I've posted in like for Q3, I think I got about 60K in payouts.
But you would credit copy trading to all of that?
If you made it to the 5% or less that can get profitable in trading, don't touch a thing.
You're saying the controversial things here, Ike, but I agree.
But here's the question that every trader, prop firm trader, really has to ask himself is, do you want to be an amazing trader or do you want to get payouts? So I sent that, a few fun videos and things like that. And Patrick was just like, he's like, look, if you suck, I'm just going to throw you right out.
Let's stem into this because it seems like you've spent some time thinking about this. So maybe first elaborate for us. What does that mean to you to fix your brain for trading?
Most of the people listening, like your mom lied to you about how smart you are. Like you're not so smart.
What's up, traders? Welcome back to the Day Trading Show. I'm your host, Austin Silver. Today, I've got Ike in the building with me. Ike is a fantastic guest for a couple of different reasons. He's a Forex turned futures trader like myself. He works a full-time job, so he's trading part-time, but he's taken a ton of payouts from a couple of different prop firms. He does copy trading with Apex and a few other firms as well. So we talk about scaling your business. We talk about the big payouts he's taken. We talk about his time with Patrick Wheeland down at Pat's new studio in Florida. So we cover a lot. His favorite prop firm, all of it's discussed in this episode. I really appreciate Ike giving us the time. I think you guys are going to love this. Make sure you connect with him. I've got links for his socials down below. I've got our sponsors linked down below as well. We couldn't do this without them. And now I'll shut up and you guys can enjoy my conversation with Ike. So Ike, let's get into it. First question, Forex Ike is the X handle. Are you a X Forex trader like me?
Yes, exactly. So
how'd that happen?
So back when MT5 was everything, some dude on TikTok, I've been in the trading game for about 3 years now. Yeah. And, I got into it like most people, saw some influencer, someone on TikTok, clicking a few buttons, living in Miami, making 10, 15 grand in a few minutes and like living life. And so I was like, yo,
sign me up.
This is me. Yeah, and so it was also when I first had my daughter, my first daughter. So I was also like, I'm also trying to think of a way for some extra money. I got to make a little bit of extra cash here. Everything, especially in the Northeast, is super expensive. Daycare for each kid's $2,000 a month. So right away you're just bills are coming, and you also know that you're going to want more time. So it's I was looking at this as a way where I can, which I think is a common mistake with a lot of traders is you figure like, oh, if I learn this formula, I will be successful automatically. Like as soon as I learn it, I can't lose. You know what I mean? And so that's where I was in. So I was doing Forex back then, which I really thought was the only thing I didn't even know about futures. And I was trading Forex for a while until MT5 got banned in the States. And then I started looking for what else I could do,
Do you miss Forex now that you've made the switch to futures? I see you're an NQ guy, so I know you got the volatility that you love, but do you miss Forex at all, or are you happy to be trading futures?
Not really. I'm liking the spreads better.
I ask everybody that, and everybody says no. So that's why I just want nobody.
Not at all. I do miss kind of MT5 just because it was a fun, easy, cool app to use.
Yeah.
But no, I don't miss it at all. And I used to only trade gold. I used to only be XAU really, and the GC, I guess, just doesn't move as smoothly for me.
It's different. It's the
different.
because you're trading the contract size is different. Like the dollar per point is different, right? So it is different than trading on the CFDs for sure. I think now too with like the instant funding, the different like plans that the futures firms offer, it's basically the same thing we had in CFD land. Because I was funded back in the day with my Forex funds, and we did all this where all the prop firms allowed US traders. You had all those different opportunities to get funded with different rules, what fit for the right person. Now we're kind of like pigeonholed into maybe 10 companies max really that people talk about, So we'll get into the prop firm stuff in a little bit. You're in New York, you're trading East Coast time. You trade in just the morning, like open to 10, like what's your normal day schedule?
So
if you're tired of wasting money and time on sim funding challenges, Top One Trader has an offer for you. They now have instant funding accounts, which means you can start trading towards a payout today with no challenge and no waiting. It's an incredible offer. As long as you follow the consistency rule, you can be eligible for a payout in your first week of trading if you take advantage of some of the unique offers that Top One has. like their instant payout add-on. Now, if you go back to episode 147, I interview a guy named Derek. He made over $100,000 with Top One last year. He shares his experience with Top One as a firm in detail in that podcast episode. So definitely check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about what traders are saying having traded with Top One. Their customer support we know is top notch. We know that they are paying people out with no issues. So to me, them getting in the instant funded game was a no-brainer. So check it out. Thank you to Top One. Happy trading. If you're serious about taking your trading to the next level in 2025, you need to be tracking your trades the right way. Most traders don't struggle because of lack of skill. It's because they lack data-based insights on their own performance. And that's where TradeZella comes in. You're going to be able to see strengths and weaknesses, see what's working well for you, see what you're not doing well. And then you're going to be able to double down on what's actually working by identifying your most profitable setups. You're going to be able to review and detail each trade with precision. And that's going to help you identify new patterns and make more money. I've been using TradeZella for the last 3 years. Everybody that we send to them absolutely loves them. So use the code ASFX10 for 10% off your monthly, or the better deal, use the code ASFX20 to save 20% on your yearly membership. Good luck and happy trading. Every trader is searching for an edge, but edge is not found, it's built. With Edgeful, we don't trade blindly. We trade with precision, we trade with confidence, and with data. We use Edgeful every single day on ASFX TV. The reports are constantly evolving, and the stats are coming in and out of play every single week. That's why having Edgeful is a must in my daily trading tool belt. One of my favorite reports is the classic gap fill report. This report is actually what inspired the entire company. Andre, the CEO founder, he actually talks about that on a podcast episode when I had him on the show a few weeks ago. If you don't know what the gap fill is, that's okay. Edgeful actually explains that to you as well. So if you're looking for an edge and you want to stop guessing, maybe you want to actually start executing some winning trades, give Edgeful a shot. There's a link down below for you to check them out. Sign up. You won't regret it.
I work a full-time job in an office, but I can have my computer open, my screen open and everything. So
Perfect.
I'll normally get into the office. I normally won't trade until I'm like sitting down because I know whenever I feel like I'm rushing to trade, if I lose, I'll get really mad at myself for putting myself in
Absolutely.
that
Of course.
situation. So
Of
so
course.
one of my biggest things with trading is I promise myself I won't get myself angry. So meaning like it's okay to lose, but don't lose because you violated yourself type of deal. You know what I mean? So I can't if I feel like I'm in a rush, even if I want to get a trade in, I just won't. I'll walk away, you know? So once I get into the office, I'll set up make up my chart, set it up, have my copy trader open, Ninja Trader, and see if a setup comes. But I'll keep it open really until like 3 o'clock, 3:30 to take a trade at any time. I might take it in the morning, might take one in the afternoon, might not trade it all in the day, depending on my workload for the day, you know?
Love that. Yeah, that's about the same kind of schedule I'm working. Normally, like it depends some days if I'm sure you're the same. Like if you're busier, more meetings and shit like that, clock out earlier kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
the another benefit of trading. Who like would you say is your mentor or who got you into trading? Whose strategy are you working right now? Because I
So
saw, correct me if I'm wrong, when you were at Patrick's studio, you were wearing an I can't trade shirt. Was that
right,
what I
right,
saw?
right,
Okay,
right,
okay,
right. An
okay. So definitely
ICT, I
not an
can't take.
ICT guy.
I'm not now. I did when I first got into trading. I did follow ICT and everything like that because
As a lot of people do. He's
there's a
got a
lot of right,
million bajillion followers, right?
sure, but yeah, I see. I'll never knock anyone's strategy. If you could make money, I won't knock your strategy, but I
For
might
sure.
make fun of like if you think somebody's like cracked the matrix and pro like then I like to tease you for that, but at the same
Yes.
time there's but I believe any profitable trader could be profitable with any strategy they learn. Like I think if you're profitable at ICT, it means you fixed your brain, you hack your brain where any strategy will work for you at that time. ICT is for some people that are way smarter than me. I trade support and resistance. I just draw lines, horizontal lines. That's it. No, not even on no diagonal or anything. I'm a very simple trader because like so much going on with life, and it's like I can't. When I was trying to do ICT, I would outsmart myself. Like, oh, you get too crazy, like you get lost in the sauce, like they say. Like it's, you know.
Absolutely. I was going to say on that comment about simplicity, I learned a lot from Scott Redler. He works at T3 Trading. I went to a seminar he did and stuff. I used to work at T3. He always said if it's not simple, you won't be able to repeat it over the long term. So you have to like it and it has to be simple. From routine to strategy, all of it is the same. So I think that that's good. And then the second thought you made me think of is I read the book The Unknown Market Wizards, which is like a new market wizards book, came out a couple years ago. And Peter Brandt, who's on Twitter,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was featured in the book, and he said something that I still use today, which is that diagonal trend lines, like you just mentioned, that you don't use, they suck because they're very subjective. But
Right.
horizontal levels are not subjective; they are price levels. Like it correlates to an exact price on the axis of your chart. So he trusts horizontal levels way more. So like same thing for me. Like when I do support and resistance, I never do trend, or at least I will draw them sometimes to be cute and like, yeah, look at the higher lows, but I will
Right.
never like trade off of that trend line. So okay, now how many trades a day you taking? And and then like maybe let's stem into some prop firm stuff, just because I like to give the audience a little bit, like you're hitting some good questions here, giving
Yeah.
a lay of the land for how you trade. So
Sure.
talk to us about like quantity of trades and then stem into like prop firms. Are you copy trading? I think you are with a couple of different firms,
Yep.
50Ks, 150Ks. Give us your input on that.
So yes, so I'll normally do one or two trades a day, unless like something crazy is happening. But like for me, it's
Sure.
like I like to see it as it, I know a lot of people hate to say that trading is like gambling, but I mean, anytime you're risking money for something you're not sure about, you're gambling. If I bet on Barkley to score a touchdown because he scored in 15 out of the last 16 games, I'm gambling with an edge, but I'm gambling. So the same thing.
Speculating with probability.
Exactly. So you can't, I know a lot of people hate to say that it's gambling, but it is. And with gambling, just like in a casino, the longer you're at the table, the more of a chance you're going to give your money back. And
Absolutely.
so I believe in like get a quick hit, maybe one or two if price action's looking great, and then get out and go on with your day. Because how many times everyone listening to this podcast can attest to being green in the morning and then blowing their not just losing, but blowing their account later in that day. It's like and you know this already. You know it, and that's the hardest part is really hacking your brain to like you need to fix your brain. It's not the strategy. It's not anything else. It's you. That's what I'm telling people when they ask me about my strategy. It's like, I'm like, if you're just looking for the next strategy and you're going to hop from one strategy to the other, you'll never get it. You got to work on yourself and then any
100%.
strategy will work.
So true. So let's circle back to that, how to fix your brain. Talk to me about prop firms and stuff. Give us like a layout for what you're working right now. Because I see you on
Sure.
Twitter, and everybody who's listening, make sure I'll have Ike's Twitter linked below. Definitely follow him on Twitter so you guys can connect. But you're copy trading, I think, with some Apex accounts, and there was another firm. I didn't know what it
Elite
was.
funded trader,
I've
elite
heard of
trader
them.
funding. Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
I started copying with them because they had one of those 90% sales where and they let you have 20 accounts.
How can you
So
say no? It's
yeah, so I'm like, you know
ridiculous.
what? I'll try to. And that's another thing is coming from the CFD world, the challenges were way more expensive. So it's
Way
like
more
way
expensive.
more. Like I remember when I was like aiming to get, I wanted to have $1 million in funding. So
Everybody, yeah.
that was going to cost like about 12 grand or 11 grand
Right.
because it was like
Right.
2000. It was like 1,600 bucks for like a 300K or something like that. It was like
Yep.
real money. Then here it's like with Apex, I have 20, 50K accounts and it was $85 activation fee and pass them on a news candle, really. So I'm trading right now 20 Apex PAs and 15 Elite Trader Funders. I'm up on all of them. I'm in the green. I've taken payouts on about six of these PA accounts, multiple payouts, like where I'm at like payout five or six, and then on about 12 of them, I'm working toward my first payout where I have about $5,200 I'm looking at right now. So I'm getting there. And the Elite Trader Funder, same deal. I'm at about 51.5 on all of them, and I need to get to 52.6, same type of
That's
rule
awesome.
to get there.
Copy trading, is this the first thing you did when you got into prop, or did you start with one account and try to work one account? Like, how did you know copy trading would work for you?
So I started with Apex, got one account, got funded on the first account, got a payout on the first account. So I got 2,500 buck payout from my 001 thing, and from that, then I'm like, okay, now let me get crazy. So
Run this
really,
up.
all of my PAs that I have and everything were all from that first uh my first payout from my first Apex account, and before this, I was funded with funding pips, with a lot of CFD Alpha Capital. I've gotten a bunch of payouts from my funded futures, my Forex, my funded Forex, all that. Like I've gotten payouts before, but when you have these 20 accounts, it's like, like yesterday I posted, I did one trade, I made like 210 bucks or something, but times, 20 plus 15, that's crazy, right?
It's ridiculous, bro. Yeah, I mean,
So
I talked to a couple of these prop
Bentley.
promoters.
Sorry about
I've
that.
talked to a couple of, no, you're good. I talked to a couple of them, and they say that the copy traders are the P&L killers for them. They're always worried about their copy trader guys because the payouts
Yeah,
can be massive.
right.
In our mentorship group, we had a couple of guys last year take $30,000 from Apex individually because they did the 20 accounts, 2,600, take the forward, like whatever, 30,
Yeah.
40 grand out. Yeah, I think it was 40 actually. I had one of them on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, so the listeners may know who one of them is, at least Mark.
Yeah, I've posted in like for Q3, I think I got about 60K in payouts where I got like 10, never of one payout from Apex for 20K, but two in a month for
But
10K
you would
each.
credit copy trading to all of that?
Oh, for sure. If you're not copy trading, you could still make like I was getting paid off just doing CFDs when I wasn't doing any copy trading, but it's like okay, so I got into trading really, I just wanted to supplement income and also have kind of something to look forward to in the future, I guess you could say. Because like, like I think a lot of people, I'm older than most Twitter users and I have a family and all that, but like um, you when you're younger, you think like, all right, I'm smart enough, I'm gonna figure stuff out. And when I'm older, I'll be able to retire, I'll have money. Like you just figure it will work out. And then all of a sudden you start getting older and older, and you're like, yeah, when's this whole thing work out where like I don't need to worry about money in the late
And
like
everything also just gets more expensive too at the same time.
right.
Yeah.
And so it's like so I started also thinking like that, like what am I going to do in the future? Like let's say my job disappears. Let's say that and that's really the reason I got into trading. And when I first got into trading, I wasn't looking to make 20 grand a month at all. I was looking to make 4 or 5 grand a month to me would be amazing. Like, like the 4 or 5 grand extra a month, like my bills already, my salary already covers all my bills. That's an extra 5 grand a month. That's an extra 60K a year to enjoy and have fun with. Like,
Hmm.
so that's what I was looking for getting in. And then with the copy trading,
It
it's
just blows the
really,
door. Like it
yeah,
puts you right there. It gets you like to a whole nother level of trading where it's
yeah,
like the 4 or 5 grand a month, you can do that with one account. You don't
right.
need to do that with copy trading. And some people will say, well, you can also do it with copy trading by lowering the risk per trade, right? Like you can keep these Apex accounts for a long time
Sure.
by risking very little per trade. So, what would be your tips to people that are now getting into copy trading for the first time? Give some guidance to the listeners of like, hey, watch out for this. This might screw you up, or do
Sure.
this. This is a fast track to success.
So for sure with copy trading, I would say start out with less than 20 accounts, maybe 5 or 6, because there's oftentimes your copy trader, if you're too quick on like a order, sometimes it won't execute in the rest of them. It will
Oh,
only,
really?
and then it will all of a sudden execute in the rest of them. Like
Mm,
you need to be ready to flatten all at all times. Like whenever I'm in a trade, I have my flatten all button like ready to click because
got it.
you never know with copy trading. Like I've blown 20 PAs by accidentally in a copy trading where
Mm,
where I thought I was in a trade on one and it was, I was like, and then all of a sudden I look at the other ones and they're all in the negative. I don't know how that happened, but copy traders, they could mess up. So the main thing is I'd say is get comfortable with it first, you know, um, and keep your eye, like yesterday when I posted the $200 win or 200, like $210 win. Okay. First of all, that's still great. $200 a day. I'll take that all day, every day. I wish I made that on the Super Bowl. I lost a
we're
lot
not
more than that.
Patrick Wheeland. You know what I mean? It's fine.
Oh, right. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, look, the way he trades, get $1,000 and then copy trades it. So he's getting like, God bless, man. Like I'm just not
No, but I agree with
everybody's
you. The
head is
$200
different.
is still good.
It's
But then
still
to
good,
copy trade
especially.
it across 20, 30, 40 accounts, yeah.
Yeah, it's a real payday, and the fact that you can get into it for not a lot of money too. That's another huge thing. So you could literally drop $100, get 5 evals, and pass. I also another thing about evals. A lot of people, um, you say you trade your eval like you would trade your funded and stuff. And for me, at least for me, that doesn't work because I don't want to. You trade best when you kind of don't care, right? And if you get invested in your eval, like you worked on it for 2, 3 weeks, when you get funded, you are so scared to do anything because you're afraid you're gonna blow this account that you just worked 3, 4 weeks to pass, and now all of a sudden you're gonna blow it, like. So like I like to pass my eval in like 2, 3 days tops, and otherwise I'd rather just blow it and start again because I don't want to feel like, oh, this eval is I worked months. I can't. I'm afraid to even
So
trade this.
much agree, bro. So much agree. I got guys that have spent 60 days in a combine. I'm like,
Yeah,
what do you, it's simulated funds. We can't be doing that. Can't
can't.
be doing that. So I do agree with you. I think our listeners maybe don't. Some people will say, no, treat your challenge the way you treat. I think with enough experience, and this probably ties into what we're going to talk about in a second about fixing your brain. With enough experience, you can say, hey, I'm in a combine. I'm going to treat this aggressively. And then, hey, I'm actually going to cut it back a little bit if I get this to a fund. Like, with enough level headedness, I
Right.
think that that is possible, right?
Yeah, because I agree with that too. Is that I agree with the thought like treat your combine like
It
you're
makes
real because
sense.
but here's the question that every trader, prop firm trader, really has to ask himself is do you want to be an amazing trader or do you want to get payouts? Because if you want to be an amazing trader, yeah, you want to hold it the whole way. You want to get it. You want to get all the points, get in the right, everything perfect. You want to do that. That's great. But you're not going to pay your rent and your credit. You're not going to send a picture of your amazing 100-point NASDAQ hold to your credit card company being like, yo, I can't pay, but look at this amazing trade, right? Like you
A
need to get
hundred
payouts. So to get
percent.
payouts, you need to get in and get out and get your money. Being an amazing prop firm trader does not equal an amazing trader, whatever that means. But like I've got a friend who saw me making money. He's like, oh, I want to get into prop firm trading. I want to do this too. He has passed a bunch of combines on Top Step, never
Mhm.
gotten a dollar out. Why? Because
Why?
he believes you got to keep trading. There's no cutoff where I need to stop trading today. I will keep trading. I'm gonna, and he trades like what he would think like, oh, now I'm gonna hold. Or why cut it? It's going in my direction. Which you can't, I'm not arguing with that, but the proof's in the pudding. He hasn't gotten one payout
A
because
hundred
he's a
percent.
good trader.
A
Like,
100%, dude. You're
you know,
saying the controversial things here, Ike, but I
for
agree.
sure.
I think I trade like when I've taken my payouts, it's when I'm trading a couple of funded accounts. I've got combines behind, ready to go. I'm not taking it too seriously, putting on a risk that, doesn't make me care too much in either way necessarily, especially on funded accounts, but not holding it so it's like, I have to keep this account forever. This is like
Right.
personal cap. No, it's
Right.
not. Especially when you really zoom out. What are you really wasting? Time. It's all about
Exactly.
time, man.
It's all
So it's
about
all
time.
about, and again, I just love what you said about statistics are great and like studying your TradeZella and all your stats is great. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't turn to payouts, something's got to change.
That's it. Yeah.
And this is now where you get into the deep, murky waters of like saying, guys that know how to move money around, guys that are like good at statistics with gambling and stuff like that, can actually translate some of that, I think, into prop trading for a positive, not for a negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can curtail some of those negative, like, the over trading, the over lever, like oversizing too big, if you can curtail it a little bit, those guys can do really well. So, I mean, a lot of us listening and a lot of the people I've talked to do sports betting and do all that stuff, and they see it the same way. So, now let's talk about fixing your brain a little bit. Let's stem into this because it seems like you've
Okay.
spent some time thinking about this. So, maybe first elaborate for us. What does that mean to you to fix your brain for trading?
So when I first started trading, it took me about maybe a year to get to like my break even stage, you could say. Where for a year I was like kind of getting in, getting out of trades, thinking I kind of knew. And the crazy thing about the market is after the trade, it always makes sense whatever happened. If it went up, you're like, oh, I see because, oh, it went down. Oh, I see because. So it always makes sense
Of
after the
course.
trade. So you can't
Of
get
course.
too crazy with that. So, but by fixing my brain is when I told myself like I'm not gonna, really it's self-love. I'm not gonna get myself pissed off anymore. Like I don't mind losing, but I'm not gonna get myself pissed off. And part of that is like, all of a sudden you feel like you've gotten 3 days green in a row, right? Oh, I'm doing great. Now what do you do? Instead of continuing what you're doing, you're like, let me make this better. Let me learn some new stuff. Let me get a new indicator here because I'm doing 3 days in a row. Let me even perfect it. Always be learning. It's like I get all those great thoughts of always be learning, always be perfecting your stuff. But if you made it to the 5% or less that can get profitable in trading, don't fucking touch a thing. Like you made it there. Why are you still tinkering? Like you made it where 95% of people fail. And then what do? You're like, let me better this. And
Let
then
me
what happens?
back
You
test
blow
it and
your
see if I
accounts.
can. Right, you're making me think of a guy I had in the mentorship group who was, I thought, one of the best traders that had ever come through. He just wouldn't stop back testing, bro. Every time we thought like, okay, good, we got something worked out, made a little adjustment into how his stops were played, and then he would go back to back testing. And instead of just trading and doing what was working, he would spend more hours a day back testing. And I was like,
Breaking his head. Yeah.
breaking his head, and not only that, like wasting time like sitting there, but then like that drains you mentally. So then to trade By Thursday, when you've been
Yeah.
backtesting for 3 days for 6 hours a day, trading probably doesn't look or feel the same on Thursday, Friday. So it was impacting him so negatively, but he wanted to be busy. He didn't
And
want
he
to make
wanted to be good
payouts.
at it. All right.
Yes,
But
yes, he
here's the
did.
thing about backtesting. I'm all for backtesting when you're figuring out your strategy or learning your
Absolutely.
strategy. But
But
after
once you've
that,
got it,
yeah, once you got it, the
or
problem with backtesting is if trading is mostly psychology and
yeah,
patience, and
yeah,
you're backtesting a month in about an hour, how are you helping your patience or psychology? You're hurting it
you're
because you
hurting
don't
it.
know how to wait for a candle. You don't know how to,
Great
you're
point.
getting so I am not for backtesting once you have a strategy that works. Once you get your data, I don't want to backtest it. I don't backtest at all. What am I? I'm just going to draw lines. Like, what am I going to do backtesting anyway? But you can't overthink it. That's the biggest thing. And I think I wrote it on Twitter once. I'm like, there's people with a quarter of your IQ making more money out of you, making more money than you because they're too dumb to outsmart themselves. And it's like,
Oh,
like they're just too dumb to
yeah,
outsmart themselves, so they're just
yeah,
making the money.
love that.
And meantime, you're a genius, so you can't make a dollar because you're too smart. And that's another thing which I think I was saying on PW stream is most of the people listening, like your mom lied to you about how smart you are. Like you're not so smart. And the thing that makes you smart is to know you're not smart. Because everyone in like a chat room, everyone in a group, everyone in Discord, they all think that they're going to figure it out like, oh, my mentor only trades NASDAQ. But once I learn the strategy, I'm going to trade every single Y stop at NASDAQ. I'm going to trade all the time. I'm going to be making so much money. Like they're so smart. Like they think that their mentor that they're learning from is an idiot for only trading one pair or whatever. And they're going to figure it out. And that's what 90, and they think they're alone, that they're the smart ones. But 95% of the people are thinking that exact same thing. Only the 5% know, hey, I'm not a genius. I'm not the smartest person. I'm just going to try to make some money here and I'm going to walk on my way. You know?
Dude, so well said. So well said. You see me taking notes as you're talking,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
Your mom lied to you. You're
Your mom
not as
lied to you
smart as
every
you
day.
think, dude. Oh
You're
God, that is
not.
gonna break. Someone's gonna be listening to this thinking, maybe he's right.
Yeah.
Just
And
changed at
once
34
that
years
comes in,
old.
yeah, once
I,
that comes in, that maybe he's
it
right.
helps because it's like
Yeah.
be humble, right? Like how important is humility to successful
Yeah.
trading? It's like realize like you don't know anything. You don't know what and you don't even know the outcomes of these trades. You just know the setup that's presenting and if it's supposed to fit, like you said, the system you're supposed to trade. Everyone
Yeah.
tries to control the outcome and it ends up leading them to being frustrated. You're frustrated because you're controlling something you can't even
Yeah.
impact, you
You
know?
start moving your
But
stop loss. You don't want to
oh
accept the
yeah,
loss.
adding into a loser, doubling
Like
down. Yep, the whole thing.
so it's really if 95% of traders think that they're smart, think that they're good, think they're going to figure it out, think that they're about to become rich, and they lose, how can you be part of the 5% winners? You need to realize all those things the other way. Like, I'm not smart. I'm
Absolutely.
not going to try to learn about, any FVGs or kill times or silver bullets or unicorns. I'm not learning about any of that. I don't even want to. When someone tells me like, "Oh, I don't want to hear. I've got a working system. I don't want to know about another acronym." Like, I use
Even
an EMA. That's my only acronym I use,
I was gonna say, even for the listeners listening, like look at this zoomed out. Like know what you know, and then block out the rest. Once you've got something that working, whether you like ICT and that's your thing or not, we're not here to influence you. We don't care what you guys do, but just take from Ike like the perspective here of like tunnel focused. It's like a horse with blinders on. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's a really good point. Let's talk about the PW thing for a second. How did that
yeah.
happen? How'd you get linked up with him to get? You were one of the first people he had at
I
the
was
Big
the
Dick
first. Yeah, I
House.
was like the first one. So pretty
Yeah,
much, he was posting about the house a bunch
yeah,
of times, like,
yeah,
and so I just wrote in like one of his because he's like, oh, which trader wants to come down to Florida and trade? So I just wrote in there. I'm like, yo, let me. And then a few of people who follow me liked it, and so he
yeah.
wrote, okay, just email, his assistant or whatever. So I emailed her. I gave my like TikTok. TikTok in there. I don't really post on TikTok, but I edit my videos on TikTok, so it posts on TikTok, but I'm not really
Sure.
active. So I
Yeah.
sent that, a few fun videos and things like that, and then they're like, because I was going to be in Florida anyway with my family for
Oh,
about a
it's
week,
perfect. It's
so in
perfect.
South Florida. So I was like, I'll come by for a day. I could come by on Friday and in the morning and blah blah. And so then like the assistant said, all right, sounds good. And like
Yeah.
Patrick was just like, yeah, he's like, look, if you suck, I'm just going to throw you right out. I was like, yeah, perfect. I was like, I'll throw myself out. Don't worry about it.
Fuck yeah. I love that.
So
No, so that's all. I mean,
I
and
was already going down to South Florida, and I figured
so it
like,
worked
hey,
out
this is
perfect.
fun time, and
What was the vibe like when you were in there? Was there other
oh, it was
guys in there?
great.
What was
Like
the
it was
vibe?
fun. It was going. Like he's got his Lambo parked there. The lights are all, it's a new setup. There's computers, big screens, TVs. I mean, it was a really fun, it was a really fun time. I mean, I was there. I thought it was going to be like a half hour or 45
No, you
minutes,
were on
like
stream for like 3 hours, bro.
the entire stream. Yeah, I was on there
Yeah.
for the whole like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a ton of fun. And yeah, he said come down whenever again. But I'm up here, so but and it's not like I'm pushing anything. I don't sell a course. I've got two kids. I got a job. I just like to share this to try to save other people time because
I love that.
everyone's looking for that holy grail. Like I was too. I built an EA at one point thinking, a bot. Like I thought like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to figure this out. Like you keep looking for that holy grail when the whole time like you're the holy grail and you have no clue and you're looking for it. And the sooner you'll finally accept, which is such a hard thing to accept, that there is no holy grail. There is no perfect formula where as soon as you get it, now you got it. Like as soon as you learn that, I believe profit will just start coming because you'll see it. You got to get out of your
Absolutely.
own way.
So true. So when you were there, being somebody that trades way different than him, was he influencing you to take trades? Were you
Nah,
influencing him?
I was showing him. So we had some similar setups where we both wanted to get in at a certain time. But the way I trade is I'm mainly off the 5 minute or the 1 minute, and I wait on candle closures. I almost never do a market execution. Like I'll do a buy stop, sell stop, or a sell limit off an EMA. Like I'm always doing like, and either my trade will get activated or not. So like in a day, I might take two trades, but I'll probably put out 13 to 15 orders. Just lots of times they won't get filled. Like where I'll have like, okay, if price comes up to the EMA, I'll have a sell limit over there to ride it down. But if price keeps going down, like breaks the previous candle, I'll just cancel this order. So that happens throughout the day where I'll have a buy stop or a sell stop and a candle breaks another thing which invalidates it for me and then I just go on to the next. And
No
plenty of times it
market
goes in my
orders.
favor. Huh?
No market orders.
No market orders.
Interesting.
Like I let it because the way I trade is I'm kind of letting price come to me.
Sure.
Like
Absolutely.
like I know I can't guess the market, but if I'm assuming price will come here, then maybe I'm right about the next step it will make too. So I
Yeah.
assume price will come here, and if it comes there, it will continue, or I assume it will come up here and from there reject. That's kind of the orders
Are
I
they scalps? Are they like quick trades, usually less than an hour, something like that?
less than an hour. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
my average trade's maybe 10 minutes, 12
Yeah.
minutes.
The
And
word scalping gets thrown around so much. Like, is scalping 1 second by 1 second? Is it minute by minute? I mean, with futures, you got to be out by the end of the day. So I say it's scalping if you're closing within the day. We're not swing
yeah,
trading, so we're day trading, we're scalping. It's the same thing to me because we're not bots. You know what I mean? None of us
right.
can do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so nice. About an hour on the whole time. Do you favor longs or shorts? I meant to ask you that too when we were talking about your stats.
I don't even, I have no preference on that. Like,
Okay,
I don't even
nice.
know what the market's doing data. So a lot of people like to do like a daily or a weekly outlook of the market before getting in. I mark up the 30-minute chart because since I'm in and out that quick, technically, look, lots of times more information is good, but for me, the less information, the better. Like I want to keep it simple, simple, simple. So like, I don't want to all of a sudden think like, well, on the daily, I am looking bullish, but then I see a nice bearish setup, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to take this because.
No,
So
I
I
know,
just stick on
especially
30
because when you're
minutes.
a short-term trader, you don't need that higher
I
time
don't
frame
need
stuff.
that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you
So
off there.
so
Yeah,
really, I'm
absolutely.
30 minutes, 30-minute markup. Just mark up like closures, and then I'll zoom down to the 5 and the 1, and enter off that. And I use an EMA also, the EMA 7 to as like a bouncing or pivot point, you could say.
EMA
And
7. I used to use an 8 EMA all the time. So, yeah, I think, there's that old adage or that old saying people always talk about that indicators don't work. What are your opinions on that? EMAs
um,
don't work.
I think it's the
Don't
same
work.
as right. I think it's the same as strategies. It's like every strategy works and every strategy doesn't work if you work. It's all on you. So EMA for me, like it helps me kind of create a bias and a direction. I If I just looked at the EMA, it wouldn't tell me when to get in and get out of a trade. But
That's the
yeah,
difference.
right,
That's where I think people get screwed up. They think the EMA is for entry.
right.
Indicators
No,
often aren't great for entry. Indicators are good for indicating trend, indicating bias. You know what I mean?
confluence
So
or
I think people
something.
go,
Yeah,
indicators don't work, but it's like you're using it wrong, buddy. That's
right,
really what it is to me.
right.
One more question to circle back to PW before we leave it. Any big differences from his online personality to his in-person personality? I think people want to know, is the online PW the same as the in-person PW?
I think it's like a 40x version of the in person. Like the in person one off camera, he was super nice, super like alive and energy and all that. But he wasn't like that, like oh, what are we doing here, guys? Oh, Nasdaq.
That's
Oh,
a good
you know,
impression, bro.
oh boy, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? How are we
Right.
gonna get
He's
it? I can't
dramatic in front
stop
of the camera.
winning.
Right. Yeah. But it's like that's the entertainment. People want to be
That's the
entertained to stay on the
entertainment.
stream. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Look, I'll be honest. Like, it was so much fun over there. I'm like, man, I would love to. Like, right after I left there, I bought a Yeti. You know, I bought.
Oh, he's invested now. He's like, I'm
I'm
streaming.
like, man, I'm like that was a lot
Streaming's
of fun.
fun.
But the only way I can really stream is I'd have to do like super early. You know, I got two little kids, so they're up at like 7 a.m. and then
Yeah.
get them ready, drop them off at school, go to the office. And I don't like Asian sessions, so I wouldn't trade that. So I'd have to be up at like 4 a.m.,
4 in the
5
morning.
a.m. to get a
Oh,
couple hours in. But it was a
early.
fun time. And I do think I can, you know, help people not by teaching them a strategy, but by like just teaching them to stop getting in their own way and to keep it simple. And everybody wants to be good at something, right? Like you want to be good, you want to feel smart about it. The problem with trading is it's better to just not want to be an expert because when you want to be an expert, you get too in the weeds. And that's what
Absolutely.
I believe kills you. Like staying out of the weeds. Like that's why most people, when they first got into trading, their first few trades were winners, right? Like all of a sudden you're like, you won. So why? Because you were so simple then. You were just like, oh, it looks like it's going up. I'm going to buy.
Do
Oh, it
you
looks like
do
it's
an
going down.
audit
I'm gonna, oh,
to stay out of the weeds? Are you auditing yourself
yeah.
often of like, all right, I'm getting too far down this rabbit hole? Like how, because maybe the listeners are thinking, Austin, ask him, how do you audit yourself or how do you stay out of the weeds?
Well, I try not to learn new things about
Okay.
trading. Like literally, like
Like you don't
if someone's
consume a
showing
lot
you
of
this,
trading content now that you've got to, like you're not listening to a lot of trading
right?
videos online. Right.
Exactly. Like I used to. So the person I actually learned trading from, who got me profitable, is it was a big controversy lately. But Don Vo, I don't know if you
Oh
heard of him.
yeah, dude.
He had that
Yes, of
MAM
course.
account recently, which
Yes,
blew up.
yes, yes.
So I was following him, 3 years ago, and that's where I learned this support and resistance, basic support and resistance structure. But really, once I started getting profitable, I didn't want to be influenced watching a stream when I'm trading because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this looks like I'm going to take a sell here, and he's all of a sudden maybe talking about a buy, and
Right.
now you're like questioning yourself, and so yeah, I really don't consume a lot of content. I don't like if someone's like, oh, check out this new. Whatever it is, I'm not interested because I feel like I got this is going back to like the, you know when to cut yourself off type of deal. Like if you made it to this 5% or 1%, stop. Like stop trying to do
And that would
anything.
be defined as payouts. Like you started to feel that way as you started to
Right.
take payouts. You're like, okay,
Right.
this is working. I need to not learn anything more here. I've got it. Now let's get
Yeah.
bigger at it. And then that's like you said, that's when the copy trading slides in. And now you're like, okay, let's scale now, right?
Yeah. And trading is
Have
different
you
than a lot of other things. With a lot of other things, you should keep perfecting yourself on. If you're working out and you could figure out how to make a different muscle, for sure. Like it's not, this isn't a
100%?
blanket statement with anything. It's
No, no, no.
with trading is
Definitely.
you, I believe you can do overkill for sure. And that the trick is find a simple strategy that works with you, not complicated, where you can explain it very easily. Like I can explain my strategy in a minute. It's like I draw up the lines, I wait for a candle to close above or below as long as it's with trend, and I'll put a buy stop or sell stop above or below that candle, which will activate or not activate, and take it for maybe 10, 12, 15 points depending, and I'm out. Like it's so simple that most most traders clown on me because like they're like, this is retail. You're my liquidity. I'm like, call me your liquidity.
Dude.
I'm getting my
Oh
payouts. Like
God, that
I
makes me
don't mind it.
cringe,
I
bro.
don't
Like
mind. I know
I hate
it's
that
an
shit, bro.
ICT thing. It's an
It is.
ICT
I know
thing.
it. I know. But I think that mindset too of like I don't know. I just never met a winning trader that's
Right,
like
for sure.
telling someone else like you're sucking and I'm
Right,
making the money
right.
off of you. Like I don't think I've ever said that to anybody. I'm doing okay. Like I haven't met anyone, you know what I mean, that I hang
Yeah,
around
for
that's
sure.
going around saying. So I think that's normally just losers online talking
Right.
shit for no reason because they're
You can
mad that they
tell.
see you.
Right.
You can tell
Because if
absolutely.
you're
So
profitable
you,
and you're making payouts, you're not clowning on somebody else like that, unless you need some like drama for fun or whatever. But
dude, right?
otherwise, you're
Unless
not.
you're PW, right? You
Unless
need
you're
some internet,
PW, which is
right? You need some
keeping
beef,
it
right?
going. But
Yeah. But you know what? One more thing on PW. Sorry. Got to give him shout outs because
yeah,
we
no,
love
no,
PW.
yeah, I love him.
He,
I love
dude,
him.
when he calls somebody out, he's like 50 Cent of the trading space, bro.
Right.
Once he's got you in his sights, he's not gonna come wrong. He's not gonna come correct. He's
Yeah.
coming with receipts. He's coming with videos.
Everything.
He's
And
everything,
not
bro. So you
stopping. And not
not
stopping.
stopping. You have to stay out of his sights completely if you want to stay unscathed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the
So
way that I found them actually originally was when ICT first said he's joining that Robbins Cup.
Oh, that
PW
was the
would
big
would
thing.
keep posting the top five and put his name as number
Yeah, he
one
would copy it in. I
every
remember.
time. And he's like,
Yeah,
"Where
yeah.
are you? I'm number one. I'm number one." And I was like, first I'm like, "Wow, this guy's number one," and then I'm like, "Ah, this guy's just having a bunch of fun. Like, let me, yeah,
Sidebar. You know what just popped into my head?
huh,
The pizza place I was talking to you about before we started recording.
yeah."
Grimaldi's.
Oh yeah.
Grimaldi's.
Oh, that's great. By Dumbo, of course. I've eaten there a
Come
hundred times.
on. Come
The only problem
on.
with that is a long line, but that place is amazing, dude. It's right by
The,
Brooklyn Heights. You can go sit on the promenade, look at the city, and eat the pizza. It's amazing.
on the water. I stayed at that one hotel in Brooklyn. Beautiful view, the
Yeah,
pizza.
yeah,
You can't get pizza that way
it's amazing.
anywhere else in the world. Any
Yeah,
even Florida, bro. All your New Yorker people move to here, they still can't make it
still
the
can't
same. You
get it.
can't get
Yeah,
a good slice here for shit, bro.
yeah,
It's really hard. Yeah. So
yeah.
now that just hit my,
No,
now I'm glad we
Grimaldi's
squared
hands
up on
down. I
that.
love that spot.
We're
Yeah,
talking Brooklyn pizza, everybody.
that's
Just so
right.
you know, if
Yeah,
you go to
yeah.
Brooklyn, you got to go to Grimaldi's. You're gonna wait an hour, but it's worth it. You know, speaking of famous food, I went to Dallas. We had a boot camp in Dallas at the beginning of January, and we had Terry Black's, like the famous barbecue Joe Rogan talks about.
Sure.
But bro,
Yeah.
it was $200 for three of us to each eat there, like $210 in meat. We each got a pound of meat. I think that was it. It was
Damn.
crazy expensive barbecue, but it was
Wow.
really, really good. Really good.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's circle back to a couple of things I wanted to hit. Prop firms. So you trade with a couple of firms, Elite and Apex.
Apex. And
What's up?
I just actually got a Tradify
Oh, Brett, we'll love to
sim
hear that.
funded, which I just
Yes.
have. Yeah, I've got
Um,
one of those right now because I what I wanted to do is buy one, get funded off that, and then do five and do that. So
no Top Step.
Top Step I blew. I mean, I've gotten
You
payouts
had
from
them, but you blew them. Got it.
I've gotten
So
plenty
do you
of
have a
payouts.
favorite firm? You've tried a couple of different ones. Do you have a favorite?
So Apex is just my favorite right now, just because of how you can scale
The
and the
scale.
payout strat. But Top Step is my favorite because if you get lucky on a quick hit, or lucky or whatever, you can get a really fat payout
A
really
fat
quick.
payout.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That hack with the
that's what I love
XFAs
about
is
Apex, about
insane.
Top Step. Like
Now they
nobody else
did
does
cap
that,
that
right?
recently, right? No, nobody else was really doing that right now. But they did cap that, right? Like it's 5K per
5,000,
account, I
right?
believe, right now. But
Right.
still, if you have five
Still,
accounts, it's 25 grand. I mean, it's not
over
small.
5 days, that
Yeah.
you can't complain about that. So
Can't
they're
complain
my
about that.
favorite firm in that respect
Because
because
you're doing copy trading, are you not really worried about daily max drawdown? Like you're not hitting the max drawdown usually
oh,
on the
not even
50K.
close.
So
Like
you're doing 50Ks, right?
I'm doing 50Ks, and mainly because they're easier to pass, and like I
Yeah.
said with the evals, like I don't want to spend a lot of time on an eval. I want to make sure I can pass this and go on or blow it and buy another one. Like I'd rather spend an extra $30 than an extra 3 days. Like
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get more payouts per month, and spending time passing a cheap eval to me is a waste. And I get I get the idea of like treat it the same way, but like I said, you want to be a great trader, you want to get payouts, and you make that decision, like
Isn't that interesting? Like how many people, even back when we were doing CFDs, how many people were focused on their stats and
sure.
their win rates and
Same.
their
I'm guilty
RR?
too. Yeah.
We're all guilty of it. But then you come to like futures, especially coming when it comes to futures, how quickly you can get to a payout for such a lower cost, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
It just changes the way you start to look at stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful that I got into the prop stuff. I have a couple of guys I've worked with that were in it way before me. I think it made me a better trader when I first did it. I think it was the first time I took a CFD challenge was probably 3 or 4 years ago now. So I think it made me better because back then they were time limits too. You had to pass within
Right.
30 days or whatever. So
Right.
it was really pushing you. Do
Yeah.
you find yourself wanting to trade personal capital at all? Or do you feel like you're happy with props and props are
I'm
the
Yeah, I'm happy with props, and another big thing to keep in mind is like you need to take that, like there's a rush out of you can't feel like you're in a rush. If you feel like you're in a rush, you're going to get popped. And that's how I feel like with the personal. I don't think it's bad to run a personal, but for me, it's like I'm not in a rush to get my payouts. I don't need my payouts every day. I'm okay getting a 20K payout twice a month. Believe me, I'm totally fine with that. So I'm fine risking very little money to not be able to withdraw every day. I don't need to withdraw every day. And it's like if that's your situation, maybe that's your situation. But it's you know, to the personal account to risk my real funds when I could risk so little of it doesn't make sense for me at this point.
Me too. I'm the same way. I got a couple of guys that are doing personal capital and prop. I think too, it depends on your circumstance. Like a lot of the guys that I'm speaking about that do that in our group, they're trading full time. I'm doing my coaching thing. You've got another job. So we have other jobs. I think if you have other
Right.
jobs, it gets like you can only have so much on your trading plate. If you start to have too
Sure.
many accounts and too much going on, something's going to fall through the cracks. Something's going to break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that comes into it too. So let me ask you this, like to finish us up. This has been great, dude. I got three sticky notes full of
Sure.
notes here. Um, if you look back to when you first got started, three, maybe almost 4 years ago now,
Yeah.
what would be the number one tip you'd give to young Ike?
It really comes back to that there is this isn't like a science where once you learn it, you learn it. You could see the best traders with the best payouts blowing accounts. Where when you first get into trading, you can't even imagine that. In your head, you'll get one funded account and that's going to last you forever. When you're like, how would I ever blow it? I know how to trade. I'll get payouts. I'll just keep getting payouts. Of what do I need of, I'll have one account forever. And then you start seeing people online and they're getting big payouts, but then you see them all of a sudden with a new account or a new account because the idea is to get more money, and it's not to keep this account lasting forever so that you're a good trader. It's to bring in more cash than is going out of your account. That's my goal with trading. Now, if someone's goal is to be an amazing trader and only have 300-point hits and this and that, that's great. But that's not being an amazing prop firm trader. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
so the main thing that I would tell that younger me is don't look for that holy grail. Don't look for the 2 + 2 = 4 when it comes to trading. And
Love that.
keep it simple. Like
I love that, dude.
you know.
Love that. I think this is going to be a top 5 episode of the year, buddy. This has been really
Listen,
good.
I
You got
hope
a lot
so.
of knowledge to share. A lot of knowledge to share. Next time you come back to Florida, you let me know. I'm over in Tampa, so we'll meet up. We'll go to PW's office together, and the three
Yeah,
of us
man,
can
that would be
have some
awesome.
fun.
That would be awesome.
Um, I'll put your links, your Twitter link down in the description to this, so everybody can connect with you there. This episode will go on X and it'll go on YouTube and Spotify and everything. So we'll send some
Awesome.
people to the page.
Yeah, and
But
my
maybe we'll have to
TikTok.
do. Yeah,
Sorry, my TikTok handle's the same, but on that, it's like I'll post a lot of times where I'll screen record on my phone and then while I'm like going to get food or something. So I'll catch like a $300 trade while I'm going to pick up sushi. And it's like all live.
nice.
Like, well, I'll switch the camera view on it. Like you see me going
Nice.
into the
All right, cool. We
store.
got to check that out. I haven't
So
seen that yet. I've
there's
just
some
been
fun.
following you on Twitter.
I got some fun videos on there. So
Cool. Definitely will link that too. I love it. And maybe, listen, I think we're going to have to do a part 2. I always like to ask the listeners, my listeners know, put questions in the comments, everybody. If you want to talk to Ike about something specific, you want to do more strategy stuff, we could do a video, we'll do some screen share, do some strategy. So let me
yeah.
know in the comments. We'll bang out a part 2. I was up in Brooklyn last year, did some podcasts up there at the Navy Yard. I rented a
Oh
studio
yeah,
in the
yeah,
Navy
yeah.
Yard.
Yeah. It's a really cool area now. They got a winery on
Super
the
cool.
rooftop over
Dude,
there. There's like
super cool. Sucks you guys have high taxes. You got to come down to Florida.
I know, believe me. Every time I go down there, I'm like, what the hell am I? I mean, there's snow outside right now, so
I'll tell you though, it gets hot here, bro. My wife's ready to move. So you got to have multiple spots. That's the trader life. You got to be able to move with the
yeah.
weather like a bird. That's what I tell her. We got to be
Yeah,
like
we kind
birds.
of spoke a bit about like moving too, because we're in that same situation as you, where we have that COVID interest rate right now and
Yep.
want a bigger house. So
Yep.
same boat.
So, cool. All right, Ike. I appreciate you very much, brother. Listeners, thank you guys. Make sure you check out the links below. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, Austin. Appreciate it.